they would get deliveries to those fuel cells.
Yeah, not the big trucks, actually, but just the
Yeah.
foreman trucks, the small trucks, I saw them, yeah. Sorry, this second text.
I'm well, and yourself?
Hey, when I get hangry later, you're gonna get that car off your concrete.
I moved the car from some spray painted my road.
It's just a bit.
Stuff today. Yeah. This year?
You know, I can't just stay home and off the road. You know, because the pavers are small.
Somebody actually reached out to me today, so I was like, what the hell is going on up there? What constant construction? I mean, I think that's the voice.
So we had a guy, we had a guy send an
Voice
email,
over it. Yeah.
we had a guy send an email to Jason Turner. Asking why, you know, you guys would pay, really should have the manhole should be flush with the road, not above the road. Send an email to Jason.
Did he get a
Told
reply?
our guy, no, the guy told our guy today, he goes, well, have you been up there today? He goes, we just paved it, everything should be flush or at least about, you know, maybe more low.
Good evening.
Somebody from this project. I was swerving, right? The fun right there.
It's like Old West, it was like Old West Road.
Terry, just had learn to appreciate all that help.
I appreciate it too. I was just shocked I didn't get an
You
email
okay?
response from Jason.
Are you okay?
More worked up about this.
I was expecting one from Jason.
Terry, it's 5 o'clock.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Shenango Town Board meeting for June 24th. Please join me with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Slota?
Here.
Mr. Simonis?
Here.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Hulbert? Mr. Warden?
Here. Communications?
No communications.
No communications. Okay, we're going to go right to open forum. Guests shall speak in an orderly fashion or limit their remarks to 5 time minutes or less. The speaker shall deliver their comments or concerns in a civil tone and without the use of profanity, personal attacks, or other disruptive behavior, which may result in the offender's removal from the meeting. The speaker shall not be interrupted except in a matter of urgency. Would anyone like to speak tonight, please come up to the microphone. Thank you. Okay, seeing that there's no speakers for the open forum, we're going to go right to old business. 5.1 wastewater treatment plant updates.
What you got there is what we give you guys every month. The only thing I really wanted to touch on was the change order number 7 at the bottom. The design, when they put the valve vaults, the piping is higher up than what it would be the normal working height. So we want to add a few feet of concrete in the bottom of it, allow you to be in a normal working height with waist level, chest level. Instead of having to put a ladder or a step stool or anything.
Does anybody have any questions on that, or?
I just wanted to put it in front of you guys, because it's a good number and a higher number, and we really want to push it forward, towards Kevin, so we talked about it.
Greg, what do you mean it's a good number or a higher number?
Well, it's an expensive number to,
Oh, okay.
that wasn't budgeted or put into the project.
But it's definitely for safety and,
Yeah, we wouldn't have to work off a ladder or a stool or any type down there.
Do you think that should have been kind of obvious in the original design, or?
was, or height, I'm sorry, was acceptable. So again, just a preference for the current operators.
But that was the only pumping station where this occurred? Like, you got about 20 of them out there.
Currently,
Or-
yeah.
So the 5 submersible pump stations are the ones that have the valve vaults, that would be operated like that.
Okay.
So this cost is for all 5.
Are we all right with that?
I mean, I don't have any complaints.
It's
complaints.
our
I'd rather
employees'
have it where it's
preference
easy
on
to
this.
work.
That's why this change order is in front of us. So,
Yeah, no, I'm for it, if that's what they want.
It beats working off the ladder, 'cause we get to
Yeah.
clean up and check valve that's on top of the pipe. In order to even take it apart, you have to be on a ladder or a stool to pull it apart anyway. At least this is a normal working height.
Yeah,
You can access these.
I'm for it.
And there's no budget issue.
This is contingency?
This would be out of contingency, yeah, we would do this as a change order, since it is an order request, but in that budget update I provided with amendment 5, it shows that there is still, about $3.6 million in contingency, so this was about the 20, yeah, 20,000, so.
Okay.
All right.
Lisa, and I just had one piece regarding the updates, the monthly updates. I'm looking at time elapsed. We're still marching on the August 19th date for both contracts.
Yes, so currently that is the case, however, as I did mention in bullet point 6, contract 1, since this, report was provided, contract 1 did provide that additional time extension request, however, it would be just modifying the substantial completion date to the final completion date, so those would be the same dates. We just received that information, we're currently reviewing it, we expect to have that in front of the board, at the next meeting. But
Okay,
it would
so-
not change that final completion date, that would still be the October 23rd.
So when I look at contract number 2, where you have time elapsed 120%,
Yes.
does that mean we're behind schedule to August 18th, or we're behind schedule to the original date?
Yes, so at this point, contract 2 is not signed that change order to that August 18th date. Therefore, contractually, their substantial completion date was February, I believe it was 11th, I forget now. So that is why I have not modified these dates. They are tracking well for that August 18th date at this point. But again, they have not signed that time extension because they still feel that their request is on the table.
Alex, what's that?
Oh. I believe Alex wanted me to clarify that the request that contract 1 just is, that we're currently reviewing, that will be in front of you for the next board meeting, that will not impact contract 2, which we will indicate in the, review letter. So we should still get Shenango Heights and Penview up and online, by the end of August.
So contract 2, there isn't an agreement regarding August 19th.
No, and we did send a memo to the town about the options of liquidated damages, reviewing the time extension, et cetera. As I said, they're progressing. I believe they have four pump stations left. They have made substantial progress, this year.
Okay.
thank you.
What's the substantial completion, 2027?
Yes, so the current substantial completion, no, I'm sorry, this August. Yes, so 60 days or so is the current substantial completion date. The one they're going to request will be October 27th, 2026. So this project will be wrapped up by the end of this year.
For something, I saw that there was 2027 dates on something
That
that
was
came
final.
across my desk.
I think that was for final.
Is that for
On-
final?
On the suggested.
Suggested, correct.
From
Even Census's
se-
requested substantial completion date brings them into January.
Okay.
approved by the town.
Okay. All right, anybody have any other questions for?
I don't know what piece of email it's in here, but there's also a reference about easement on pump station 18. Is there any progress on that, or we're just gonna let that go and get the project done and come back some other year and finish that off?
That's Poplar Hill Road, correct?
Yeah, I believe
Poplar
that's
Hill
what
Road.
the engineer and the attorney.
Nate and Greg and I have to work on taking that, is where that stood.
But doesn't that have to be done while we got the contractor here?
We took it out, correct?
Yes, currently it's not a part of the project. It was removed because we didn't have the easement, and EFC required that in order to get reimbursed funding. So as the contract amount stands right now, it's not included. If the town were able to get the easement, we could pull it right back in, for them to do that work. I believe that so that was a smaller modification. There was actually no pump station work there. It was replacing the RTU and the electrical component. And based on the time frame of when this was removed from the project, I believe that equipment was already ordered. So if it's not included in the project, that equipment will at least be turned over to the town should they choose to do that in the future.
Correct, Paul said we own it.
And then when it comes to the easement issue itself, this was probably a year or more ago. Alex was going to get some quotes from surveyors to survey the area that was needed for the takings, and then I think on further review and examination of the property, some electrical lines were found in places that were not expected. And so there was some further follow-up as to the locations of some of the utilities servicing the pump station, because those would need to be included in the area acquired by the town. So I'm not sure where things stand. That's my last recollection and update on that.
Can you 811 that?
So whose hands is this in right now?
Well, figuring out where electric lines are isn't something that I can do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So it's either probably a combination of Alex and Greg to try to trace and find and locate those things.
So is this something we should actively be working on now, or is this a wait till the project's done and then, to your point, Dave, wait?
Well, the past discussion that we had on it, we just removed it from the project because we didn't have the easement. So, and like Lisa said, it was more of an electrical upgrade, not a pump upgrade.
If you wanted it to be a part of this project, it would probably be something we'd want to try and figure out sooner rather than later,
And
since the contractors will be off-site.
it won't be figured out sooner than later
No.
because of the attempted negotiations with the owner of the property.
Yeah,
to-
no, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm up to speed on that. Okay.
I don't think that should stop us from moving forward with it, because it needs to be part of the project, or the town is gonna be funding it from some other source, which isn't gonna be this, where we've got the money for it. So I think we need to start getting back into it and get the easements
Yeah.
done, so we can put it into the contract.
I'll move it ahead. I just asked Greg about doing a planning style 811 dig safe call, so they can mark the utilities out. We know where ours are, but if they can mark out the NICEAG lines. The problem was that electrical at the time, I believe, was private. It was Mains's. So it was just the surveyor would be, finding it might still be difficult. So I'll advance the 811 call with that. We can take a look at it. We can expand our survey area based on what they stake out there, and we'll get new quotes from everyone on that.
And Alex, one of the things to consider, of course, is just redoing the electric servicing the pump station from wherever these lines go to something else that makes more sense and takes less property. But given that we don't know where these lines are, I don't know how much property we're actually talking about, but there's certainly alternatives that we can talk
Sure.
about.
And reminder, this isn't for an easement, it's for a taking, correct, Nate? We would own it.
We would end up likely owning the property and fee, so yes, a taking of the whole, but it's up to the town board. From a fair market value acquisition perspective, I think a property appraiser would say there's very little difference in value for the rights we need for our pump station and the below grade sewer utility infrastructure for an easement versus just taking the property. So, but it is a town board decision about what interest you end up acquiring.
Alex, the only follow-up comment I've got is you mentioned that these are private utilities. 811 isn't gonna locate private utilities, so if there's an issue with that, then the town has gotta hire a utility locating company to do that for the private.
Correct. We'll take a look at it all again, and we'll start with the 811, but might have to do some other research.
Okay, well,
Can that funding, I don't know the cost of that. I don't know if
Yes.
it's $12, that can come out of the project.
that can be all part of this project.
Okay.
All right, so since Leeson is here, do you guys want to discuss, we have the resolution for amendment number 5, so she doesn't have to stay till the end. Anybody have an issue with amendment number 5?
I see that you reduced it by, what, $40,000 or so from the original?
Yes. Based on the comments that were received at the, May 27th, we went back in and those comments and were able to, come up with more exact dates that you provided, as well as update, the construction admin phase based on our target rate that we're currently seeing.
So like the observer charge, which I don't have it right here, but is that just for contract 1 and 2 put together?
Yes, yeah, so I think that was some of the confusion as well. Obviously, there are 2 contracts going on right now. The contractor is contract 1, the North King Treatment Plant, and contract 2 is the pump station Horse Main project. B&L's agreement with the town is for both of those projects. So the total construction and demonstration, phase is for both contracts 1 and 2. So, if contract 2 is to get extended until the October dates, this would cover that work as well. So we have RPR, resident project engineer, the construction observation, accounted for in this for both contracts.
I personally don't think that you're wrong in asking for something for the extension, but I'm still not happy the way that, whatever they call it here, 4, the previous one, that we had where it was $250,000 we had to add for and we paid it. I think we were stuck in the position that we said, well, you gotta pay this or it's gonna hurt the construction of the project. But I think lack of control over the project made that $250, it was too much, I think. Because we had people coming down here and there was no work being done, but we were charged for an observer. And I don't know who was in charge of that. We're having monthly meetings, weekly meetings, and guys were probably just sitting in that trailer and nothing was going on. Seems though somebody should have got on the stick saying, this guy is not doing anything. Like I say, we paid it, but I thought it was wrong to pay that amount because I think it could have been a lot less if somebody was just doing their job properly. So I'm kind of seeing the same thing happening. I know you've put some figures together, but it's a delay, unforeseen. Seems so B&L should eat more of it up than they are. That's my opinion. It's kind of tough, but that's my opinion. I got no idea what the figure is that I'm looking for.
Any other discussion on it? Any other questions?
Well, I think we should possibly look at this as a contract issue, you know, and have a conversation about Dave's concerns and get some reaction from the engineer and from the attorney to see, you know, really what our basis is on it. can't disagree with Dave's opinion, and I don't want to discount it without running it to ground.
Understand that. We're just, but we still are discussing amendment number 5.
But I thought that was, that is an amendment number 5 to the conversation.
That's-
Okay, so it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I was not trying to go back to 4. He mentioned 4 as the foundational issue with his concern with
Yeah,
this
no,
going on.
Number 4 is done.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it.
Right. So,
And if we have to do this once again to just continue the project, I guess we have to pay it, but to me, there's something there that's not right.
So one item just to bring up, and Nathan, if you have any information on this as well. Amendment number 3 of the agreement, modified the RPR services to provide a ratio of the amount that would be due if there was a time extension. So that is the ratio that we did use for this. It's summarized under the RPR services amendment request, and basically it extends the project cost based on the total amount of working days, in this case, the 6.5 months, from the April 12th to October 27th equates to 144 working days, so that was the ratio we applied. That was part of amendment number 3 to the agreement. So that is where that number came from, different than amendment number 4, which was to provide additional on-site that was not anticipated when the contract was originally written. So at the time, the thought was that we would only need that assistant representative for, I believe, a 6-month duration. It ended up being quite a bit longer because BNL felt and the town agreed that we should have eyes on site fully when the contractor was installing the force main. Because that took longer, that's why that amendment was needed. So it's a little bit of a difference about how this one is going about, but I did want to just clarify that that is a part of the contract, this request for the RPR. And then, just also for further clarification, the construction phase services are currently as a lump sum. Our request is to do that as time and expense so that the town can track actually what costs were incurred with this delay, so we would not go over that 200,000. It would be billed as time and expense rather than that lump sum amount that the original contract was written on.
Any other questions for Lisa? I mean, this, once again, will be in resolutions when we get there, but I just brought it up now while she was here, so.
Well, if we were gonna have a review of the actual issues that Dave brought up by Alex and Nate, I'm only bringing that up because the resolution conversation at the end would be able to vote on this if we're gonna have that review done.
So we table it
Yeah.
and then get their opinion for the next meeting?
I don't remember seeing a recommendation from either one on this particular issue. So if has it been done? Because I don't remember seeing it.
I didn't put anything in writing.
Okay.
And I haven't been opining on the service amendments for anybody on this part of the project. Certainly, if you want me to do that, I can. It's not anything that's been directed at me.
Okay. I'd like to respect Dave's concerns and have that process done so that we can
That's fair.
approve it or not approve it and at least get it behind us.
Agreed.
Okay. So any other questions? Not,
No,
Good.
but if there, but if there's something that's in there, things that you brought up that would help with Alex and Nate's review, if you could get that to them in the next couple of days, just emphasize your points or, things that you mentioned tonight. I'd like to see, just so that everybody's got all the information, because I want to get it. I don't want it to just keep lingering.
So just so I'm clear, unless Alex or Nate has additional comments or feedback, you won't need to see another revision from us for next week's, 2 weeks board meeting?
That's what I would expect. I certainly think that as you guys are coordinating that, bringing them into the conversation, if you've got a question, have that resolved if you can for the meeting, behind the scenes, work that all out so that you can have your recommendations and everything cleaned up for the agenda so that we've got that information. So if an amendment is needed, at least you would know about it. You wouldn't wait 2 weeks to get it.
Maybe tomorrow you and I talk and you can walk me through all the dates and times and dollars again.
Happy to do the same for you, Nate, for time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense if we all just had a video conference together at the same time.
Perfect. Set something up tomorrow or Monday. I'll check in with you guys in the morning.
All right, we're good with that? Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Yep. All right, gonna move on to 5.2, comprehensive plan updates. See, we have a meeting on the 30th. Any other info, Dave?
That's all, that's planned. I've got plenty of questions for them, just to find out where we stand, and I think we have a communication difference here, but we'll get that ironed out. What do you think about it? I got the head shake back there, so, from the boss.
And I did review the contract and have talked with Dave and Renee about some items that I thought would be helpful for them to bring up during the next comp plan meeting to put as questions to this consultant. Because I do think that there's some, I hesitate to use the word issues or problems because I'm not sure there are those things yet, but areas that I think some further diligence and communication about would be helpful for the town.
I mean, it sounds like they're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work on things, with code and zoning and stuff, but they're just not talking to us, so.
Yeah, the item that I thought deserved the most discussion was the public involvement plan. Just from talking to Dave and Renee, and I think Darren, it didn't sound like there was a real robust discussion about how the public would be engaged to participate in that community survey that went out. And only getting 130 some odd responses out of 10,000 plus residents makes me think there should be some more thought and effort aimed at that, which I would expect the consultants to be really kind of leading the charge on identifying or helping the town identify who to reach out to, how to reach out to them, how to get this stuff pushed out. So I think it'll be an interesting meeting for the comp plan committee next week.
Yes.
That is open. That meeting is open to the public to come.
Yep,
and sit,
that is
right?
a-
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, that's what I thought.
There's an agenda for it. Renee put an agenda together for it, and it's been, notification's been sent out for.
Dave, in terms of the schedule, when I look at the schedule on this, where would you say we are in terms of what was laid out? I know they identified it in months, and I don't recall the month they started in, but just looking at this and kind of the scope, where would you say we are today?
I don't have that in front of me, and I can't remember it, but I know we're not very far. Not very far at all. And then the thing too is they mentioned about all these meetings they're gonna have, but they don't have them like tied to a date. So it's very fluid on their end too, So we're not very far.
Aside from the kickoff meeting, has there been any other meetings with the comprehensive plan committee? Or is this one, the second
Well-
one in person? Has there been a virtual one?
I come down here and talk to Renee, you know, and she, after a while, shot a couple emails to them, Colliers, saying, what's the story here? And it took a while for them to even get anything back. And if she had not initiated the conversation, I don't know if we'd even have the meeting coming up next week.
Jay, based on my understanding of what's happened to date, it seems like it's a mix between, like, possibly still largely within task one with task two's portions of it as well. So I, not having been part of that first meeting, but talking with Dave, Renee, and Darren about what was discussed at the meeting, I'm not sure all the things that should have been discussed at that meeting actually got fully discussed.
But I saw in a couple parts of their contract, they mentioned like, yeah, we're gonna have structured meetings, but every 2 weeks, there'll be some kind of contact. You know, and I don't know, but once again, we have to tell them to start the 2 week, like, where are you at? Instead of them saying, here we are.
Well,
here's where you go.
I would recommend that if you look at the proposed schedule underneath each task and the time that they have, they've identified deliverables. And maybe they have delivered them, maybe they haven't. But those would be some of the questions that I would pose
Yeah.
directly to them, is where they are in each of those individual items.
I mean, once again, this is my way of thinking. The initial kickoff we got, they tried to drum up all the enthusiasm we could for the people to be on the committee and everything. Rah, 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 and they said, you know, the problem with most committees, they lose interest after a while and they just drift away, and by the end of the time you get to the end of the process, 2 or 3 people show up. Well, the way that they're doing things now, people do not have interest.
I got you.
I mean, don't hype us up at the beginning and then just walk away. That's my biggest complaint.
I received an email from a consultant, I think I'll let talk to you about it a little bit, asking questions about water and sewer. And Renee looked into it, and they were legit, they were working as a consultant on the comprehensive plan. So I did supply them with water and sewer information last week. Just as an FYI.
I was in that day. You and I talked about it.
But if we could hear that, just say that we're working on this stuff. We're zip.
Jay, just to kind of respond to your question about where I think they are in the schedule. Looking at the agenda attachment, you know, where there's actually 2 schedules. There's a 12-month schedule and there's an 18-month schedule. And I don't remember ever anything being in this project looking forward at an 18-month schedule. So all of my expectations on this project have been 12 months from when they started. And that puts it at a completion date from their proposal of November of 2026. We are at the end of June, and that, they started the first of the year. They started in December. We had that kickoff meeting in December. That puts them on schedule for the 12 months in November, but we're 7 months in, and I don't think we have any of the full deliverables for item number 2, and that's through 4 months. So that's easily a 2+ month slide that I'm seeing at a high level.
Yeah, if that's the case, I appreciate you clarifying that, but if November was that completion date, yeah, that's at least a 2-month slide from what I'm looking at. I would call it 3. You know, just working backwards here, because I agree with you, I was always working off a 12-month schedule. So when I look at this, it's an easy 3 on the slide if we're don't have the deliverables, I'll call it task 2, but in the second section of the schedule.
Yeah, so we should be somewhere in between. We should have had 4 completed and be working on 5 as far as the deliverables.
Right.
And we've got 1 completed and portions of two. So.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Okay.
How's the board want to handle it? See what this meeting comes?
Yeah, I
see
do.
what-
I think, we get some questions answered and get some updates from this meeting,
I-
and then have that discussion.
I think it's fair to at least give them the heads up that, we think that they're 2 to 3 months behind. And when they come to the meeting, they need to come prepared to address that and to tell us how they're gonna get back on schedule. And specifically, what they need the town to provide them with. Because that's unclear too. Things are sliding because if they're needing something from us and not communicating it, we wouldn't know.
All right, any other discussion on that?
No.
I have none. Okay, moving on, 5.8 discussion. Who's doing it? Renee, Luke?
I didn't know if y'all had any, I said I sent the proposals that I got from Civic Plus and from TextMyGov, and it's got the breakdown for what the dollars are all spent for. So I didn't know if y'all had a chance to look at that. Any decisions?
What's your recommendation?
My recommendation, there are several layers, and Luke and I talked about it, because on the one hand, one recommendation that I would want to make would not necessarily be the one I would make, depending on the needs of the town. Because, one is fairly more expensive than the other. That's true. TextMyGov is. It's what we are looking for, engagement. That's the biggest piece. I wish I had an answer for that. I like Civic Plus. Both of them did an outstanding job, without a doubt, getting back with me and talking and everything else. When it comes to the engagement, even taking the comprehensive plan as an example, they've had that survey out for a couple of months, and there's only been 130-something, That's based on what we're currently doing. So what I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't have a whole lot of answers, is how do we get the engagement piece? I have to admit, TextMyGov rocks on the engagement piece because of the database. When I talked to them about, hey, could you come down in price, go up in, they were willing to work with us, and they did that. You have the app with Civic Plus. It's very handy. TextMyGov, if it's a weekend and, we're out somewhere and it's like, oh my gosh, we've got to send a, text message, you've got to be on you can do it on a phone and everything else, but, the real estate on a phone. So it's going to come down to, if the town is doing this for the engagement piece and to get the most engagement, then the question I think that has to be asked is that worth the $3,500 or whatever the difference is between that? If that answer is yes, then okay. If that answer is we're looking at long-term, even with the comprehensive plan and everything else, if that's what we're looking for, then in the other direction. But it depends on a lot what y'all think about where do you want the town to be and how do you want that engagement to look. Because the 3,500, but that's a thing. But as we found out, how else do we get the engagement? That's the thing. If we can answer the engagement piece, combined with a comprehensive plan and what we want from the town residents to be part of all of the process, they both have very good reputations. They both have very good feedback. When I asked them, I said, how's Endicott and Kirkwood doing with all of that? I said, I like Civic Plus. I don't have an answer for the engagement. I like TextMyGov. I don't have an answer for the price.
Luke?
My point of view is if this is something we need now for the sake of surveys and for the sake of the comprehensive plan, we move forward with TextMyGov because we can get up and running overnight. If this is gonna be a nice to have, and we're not worried about anything urgent, then let's wait till the next budget season, and we can actually allocate the funding for the $6,000 and do Civic Plus. But then we're stuck with the engagement piece. And are we okay with 138 people participating? Because there's no way to get them on board unless, I mean, obviously we talked about doing press releases. Regardless, we're doing press releases. Because even with TextMyGov, we would do some sort of formal press release to say, hey, you are going to get a text message from this number. Be aware that this is not a scam. Be aware that this is a tool that the town's using. We then would reach out to the school district, ask them to put it on Facebook, our press release from the town of Shenango. We could reach out to the volunteer fire department, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, that alone is not enough. So if it is a now issue and we can find the funding in the budget, TextMyGov is 110% the right choice. And I don't know in all reality if 2 years from now when the 2-year contract, because they came down from a 3-year contract to a 2-year contract, if 2 years from now we reevaluate this, because we then in theory would have the database established that we could take with us. Then we could switch to Civic Plus, have the mobile app, have the functionality, save some money, and have the database. Or maybe at that point we're going to say, TextMyGov is working so smoothly, let's leave it as is. But in my opinion right now, based on many, many hours of discussions, if this is a now solution because of the comprehensive plan and the surveys and all the tools, TextMyGov is the right choice. It's just much more expensive. And they would not come down on price.
Yeah, they came down from
They came
8,000
down-
to 7,000.
Yeah, they're down to
Yeah.
they came down a little.
But
But
not to
let's
meet
say, yeah, right,
Civic
but
Plus
let's say that value is what now, 3,000?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say, so from your opinion, what you're telling me is the value, you think that 3,000 is worth it just based on the engagement of having that database, which will drive a stronger engagement than, say, a press release and having people sign up to Civic Plus. You're saying that value alone is worth that $3,000?
Well worth $275 a month.
I think we need to do it, and I think we need to do it now. The fact, if you looked at the survey and you looked at the age groups of the people that were surveyed, there was nobody in the 18-year to 20, 18 to something. I mean, the young people, there was no young input future of the town. And the reason is that because they're all on their phones. And if we don't get to them on their phones, we're not going to get to them.
That is a big plus with TextMyGov. When they get that text message, that will be, it's an unsolicited text message. That's an auto sign up. They have to opt out. Once they receive that, say, hey, you're opted in now. So that's
I mean,
sort of
we only
instant
get so many,
engagement.
and we only get so many. But if we don't even try,
Right.
we're going to get 0%.
Agreed.
I think we have to do something, and my suggestion would be that we use, there is money, that we could use the interest that was made off the ARPA funds. There's 56,000 sitting there. That's still available.
I think I'm willing to eat the $3,000, because I think there is value there, especially from the discussion we just had, for the age group of people who are getting a response back. And maybe the exact opposite now that we're going to have a bunch of kids getting responses and not the old folks like me, but that's okay. I'm willing to do the $3,000.
Yeah, I very comfortably make a motion that we move forward with a contract with TextMyGov for 2 years in the amount of the $7,000.
And there is the setup fee, which is half of the, so, yeah, it's half of the 7,000 for the one-time setup.
So in theory, we need 10,500.
For the
Versus-
first year.
But they
Yes, that's just the initial setup. Because Civic Plus, I think their setup is, it's a difference between like 6,600 and 10,005. That's the total dollar amount for that initial setup, do the whole thing.
Did they have flexibility on billing? Do we have to pay that all up front, or do you know if we can pay
I-
that quarterly or?
That I didn't ask. I can find out.
Not a huge difference, but
So you made the
So I
motion?
think your motion should have the total amount
$10,500
and where you would like to pay for it from.
and take it from the interest. What's the budget line?
It's, well, right now it's in A202, but that would have to be moved to a,
And then, it's how much per month, Renee?
Darn, it's, the first year is gonna be 10,500, so.
Well, we're in June of this fiscal year, so if the contract date goes from, I'm just gonna say July 1 to June 30, we only need to appropriate half of a regular full contract annual amount.
That I don't know.
Well, when I say appropriate, I mean move it from, or excuse me, for this budget year, you will only be expending half of the $7,500 plus the installment or the installation setup fee.
We gotta pay it all.
It's not an upfront cost though. I thought it was billed monthly.
No,
No.
that I don't know.
We have to confirm that.
Yeah,
Oh,
have to
I'm
confirm
sorry.
that. And if it's yearly, I don't know if it's like, okay, we signed a contract today, it's good for 2 years from the day we sign the
Yeah.
contract.
That's what my expectation would be, yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
Okay,
And
I'm sorry.
And I do think it would be an annual, you pay that up front, and the expiration date, let's say if it's July 1, it's gonna go through June 30 next year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I heard somebody mention a monthly amount, so. One thing to ask Renee, you guys can do this, but would be to ask maybe if they can give you a quote, because maybe you guys do like 2.5 years, then it extends to the end of your fiscal year, which is calendar year, because otherwise you'll have it ending in the middle of the year. Not a problem, but then it makes your budgeting funny, because you don't know what the price will be in the middle of the year like that. So, sorry, that's a wrinkle you don't necessarily.
do you want to do in this resolution a not to exceed amount? Or do we know, because we don't know the exact amount we're going to be paying this first year? That we need to
If we do the,
allocate
like I said,
funds?
if we do the contract, I'm betting it's gonna be 10,500.
So essentially, even if you split the year, it's still gonna
It's
be
still
21,000.
Yes.
Yes, but
Right, if we push, and then you're saying add that other
Well,
half a year
no-
in, add that
no.
other,
You only pay the setup fee once.
Yeah.
Right.
oh, okay, so we.
So
deduct
year
that.
2
Okay.
would
Would
be
be
the
$7,000.
$7,000.
so do
You're
you,
right.
so
Okay.
do you not want to exceed 10,500? Do you
Yeah.
not want to exceed 11,000? I don't know.
It sounds like 17,500 get you the 2 years.
For the whole,
This is the number, right.
But we're not.
They should only be billing us for 1 year. In fact, we're
It's
gonna
gonna
ask
be-
for quarterly billing options
yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
gonna be, from talking to him, it's going to be a 2-year contract.
But we're not gonna pay 2 years up front. Is my point. They
I
would
don't know
understand
that.
that a municipality has to
Okay.
budget out annually 1
No,
year.
but I think what Nate was talking about is just structuring the contract, so it identifies where the term ends. But the payments are annual.
So is this resolution not to exceed
You
$17,500?
you need to appropriate funds for the first year and the
Yes.
first payment.
That's all I was
That's all I was
getting
getting
at,
at.
was just to appropriate the funds. That's all.
The next year's appropriation will happen when you
Next
budget for
Correct.
next year.
I'm asking about the resolution.
The resolution, 10,500.
Not to exceed 10,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Is there, what was the thought process on the additional storage?
Additional,
Yeah, for the additional services, you talked about doing additional text messages and additional storages, and I see that they crossed off the $75,000 or 75,000 text messages.
right, when I talked to him, and I said, hey, is there something that we can, is there wiggle room? So instead of 75,000, they're starting us out at 100,000 messages. Instead of 8,500, it's 7,000. So that was the, if you're talking about the messages that we can send out, because everything that we send out, like if we send out,
And in the last meeting, there were a conversation about two items. One was the additional cost for more database numbers, more cell numbers. And then there was the one thing that I am seeing in this that was additional storage. Each unit of storage contains additional 100 gigabytes, and that's $250 annual. That's part of additional services, but it's not part of this conversation. So what was behind that?
When it was itemized as to what each dollar was going to be spent for, if we need to buy additional things, that's how much those additional things will cost. Like if we have to buy, we got initially allocated 100,000 text message. If we need more, it's like $300 for 25,000. If we find that we need more storage, which I can't in any universe think we ever would, but if we do, they included the dollar amount of how much that would be. The exact starting storage point, that I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I can find out.
It says additional 100 gigabytes.
The
So it's-
package indicates 10 gigabytes of managed online data storage.
And that's what the subscription includes, and then there's $250 for
another 100.
for another 100 instead of 10 times that. Okay.
Right,
You-
that-
you don't, that hasn't been part of the conversation or part
Correct.
of what the expected expense is gonna be.
Correct.
Okay.
I can ask them the ballpark. If we use up all 100,000 messages, how much is that normally in storage? That's not a question I asked. I can.
It's only $250. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't care if you make the resolution for $10,750 and vet that out and get it if you need it. I just don't wanna have another half-hour conversation.
You can say not to exceed 11,000, if that covers.
That's where I was going, not to exceed 11, and then you're covered if there
Then you're
was that
covered.
hidden.
Okay,
I amend my motion not to exceed $11,000
okay.
in this calendar year.
Second.
All right, any other discussion?
I have none.
None.
Will, in the coordination with this and the surveys and stuff, will get funneled back to the engineer that's doing that so they can tie all this stuff together?
I would say that would be a plan.
Okay.
Once we get, like, how it's all going to work with the comprehensive plan and everything else, getting the word out, that remains to be seen because we haven't done this before.
Well, that was a real big part of this conversation and the decision
Yes.
that kind of brought
Yeah.
me in line with this. So if it's not part of that, then we need to revisit that. So I
No,
just want to make sure that they are directed to tie this together, to
Yeah.
use that survey portion of it.
Right. One
Okay.
of the things the premium package buys, they're not working with the comprehensive plan or anything. That's all going to be on us. And it's a matter of the premium plan allows us as a town to send out surveys, send out hyperlinks, send out, click on this. They have absolutely nothing to do with our comprehensive plan.
I'm not talking about TextMyGov having anything to do with the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And I don't want to confuse the issue that if Greg wants to get a survey from a portion of the town on whether or not they want a sewer district, that's what this is for. If we're talking about a comprehensive plan survey, then our engineer for the comprehensive plan survey should have this information to be able to engage that database.
Correct.
To push that out. And that's a big part of what I think this conversation was for
Yeah.
this, for them to use it and
Right.
and do it. So I want to make sure that that's to them as soon as possible so that they can get underneath this and start moving forward.
So
Agreed.
I would suggest that the board request that they open the survey back up, because they closed the survey.
They did.
Okay.
And
So if we're gonna do this, we're gonna spend the money on this, we need to open that survey back up.
And why,
And I-
why wouldn't we do that?
Agreed.
I have every
Agreed.
reason to believe that the consultants will be happy to do whatever the town tells them to do for this, and it's
Yeah.
very good that Renee's on the comp plan. Pushed the TextMyGov thing, and if she doesn't bring it up at that committee, I think somebody
I think
changed
he'll
Renee.
hurt me and he'll hurt me.
Okay.
All right, so we need to have a roll call on this.
Okay, well done.
Mr. Slota.
Aye.
Mr. Smonis.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holbert.
Aye.
Mr. Warden.
Aye. There we go. Let's get that rolling.
Thanks,
Oh.
Renee.
5.4, town manager. I don't know, any other discussion on this?
So yeah, I just, we had it out there last time. I just wanted everyone kind of take a look at this and put some thoughts into it. I didn't have any direct emails back regarding this, but I would like to have that discussion on how we want to move that forward. These are some of the responsibilities that, you know, we just kind of jotted down to throw out to start the conversation. And, you know, whether or not this starts out as an interim position, a part-time position, you know, I just would like to be able to have that discussion to move this along. I think there's a number of things that happen here that really requires kind of some, in my opinion, full-time attention. And I don't think the supervisor's position really allows for that kind of time.
I don't have any problem committing to getting my thoughts to the town board within the next 2 weeks for conversation at the next
Okay.
meeting.
I just wanted to progress the conversation along. I'm saying that there needs to be a decision tonight, but I think we do need to move the conversation along to address some things that I think each of us have some thoughts about responsibilities that could be to reduce it. I don't think making the supervisor's position full-time is the answer.
I think it's a good time to discuss this in the next 2 to
Right,
4
because we'll be
weeks.
coming
I'm
in-
starting the budget in the following week with the department heads, so we're gonna be moving forward on that. So if we're gonna seriously think about something like this is gonna have to be put into the budget for next year.
So if this is something that we can get on, even if it's 2 meetings from now or 2 weeks from now, however you want to do that, I would like to progress this conversation along.
Okay?
I agree.
I'm fine with doing it sooner rather than later. You know, we have two meetings. You know, I can have my comments to, you know, to the board for at least maybe not even the in-depth, but just to get a higher level conversation on whether or not it's something we want to move forward with or not. And then another meeting after that to finalize some stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So would everyone be able to have some comments, let's say, for the meeting on the 8th? And then we can have that discussion on the 22nd of whether to move forward.
Yep, I'm good
That's
with
fine.
that.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
All right.
no problem.
We'll add that in. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, 5.5, Climate Smart Grant. Alex, do you have any information on this, or?
Okay, so I think with this, where we're at now, it looks like May 13th, Kevin, you and I got the email from them on the next steps. So they sent us their package, their bundle of documentation saying, hey, we're finally catching up with you, you've got awarded, here's what your next pieces are that you have to do as far as contracting and moving the project ahead with the grant funds. We've got, I believe, 5 years to use it, but I think one of the next steps is who's handling it for you guys, moving the CSC ahead, what the CSC team will be. I know I threw it out there once if a piece of the comp plan team could be the CSC team. The other piece of this is also following up again with Colliers as to where their minority criteria are at. I know they at one point said they would adhere to it should we get the award. So we still need to lock them in on, all right, what are you providing for minority to go along with this grant? I didn't see any deadlines to pieces to commit in that email that they sent us. It's just half a dozen next step items, starting with making sure we have all of our online logins. Who's our point of contact going to be if it's not the supervisor? I was involved mainly just on the comp plan end of it, and then I wrote the grant for it when the grant writer bailed out with 3 days to go. Other than that, I'm not sure that I'm your coordinator for this. Yep.
Was this a grant we had to accept?
I didn't see that in their paperwork. We pursued it and told them we would commit to it. You could always reject it, I think, if you wanted to.
There's a grant agreement that has to be approved by the town board and signed and sent back, and that would be your, I'll say, acceptance of that funding.
Yeah, I have to find that in all their email.
Nate, I do remember that discussion. And from my recollection, we've not accepted that or agreed.
No, my struggle with these conversations is that we're not getting written information. We're having ad hoc conversations at meetings about what everybody thinks that we remember and where things are.
Look, I don't disagree. I haven't seen any of that.
And Alex, I know that you haven't been the coordinator, but you're the one that's got the information, and I'm not saying it should stay in your part. A summary report of where we stand and what the steps are that we've got to get to, and
Okay.
recommendations from you on where it should go. And that's what I would want from you, so that we can make a decision and push it forward.
Gene, I think I'm recalling the town board wanted to better understand the responsibilities of the town for this grant.
That
you
was
know,
that was part of the conversation, you're right.
and probably, I don't think it was stated this clearly, but maybe an idea of like, how many hours are you talking about from effort-wise? I don't know if Alex can weigh in on that or not, but that might help, because it might sound complicated, but if it ends up only being 3 hours of work a year, maybe that's acceptable to you folks, whereas it might look really simple. But Alex goes, oh no, in my experience, this is 30 hours of work every year for every member of the committee. Maybe that's something that you guys would say, oh no, thank you then. That's just not clear from the face of the documents themselves. So just Alex, that's what I'm remembering the board
Yeah.
being interested in.
And this one's all new to me. I have no experience with this program at all. So in the grant process, I relied on Ashley from Southern Tier 8 because she's handling it for a couple of other municipalities, or assisting them. Might be worth bringing her in July to talk with us about what she's seeing them go through. I can certainly put the bundle together for a July meeting that we got on the 13th with the next steps pieces. I mean, they do have a next steps document in there that is helpful to read. But it is a handful. You end up having a team you got a committee that you put together and then it exists indefinitely to some extent. I didn't realize it was on the draft agenda, so I didn't throw this 513 email into the agenda for you.
Do you want this on the next agenda? Where are we going from here?
I think it needs to be, Kevin. We've been talking about this for quite a while. I think we need the summary sooner rather than later.
I won't be, what's our next meeting, the 9th?
8th.
8th.
8th, sorry. I'm in Alaska on the 8th.
So the end of the month?
I'll be able to communicate on some of these other things that we're talking about, but I won't be available.
Well, I think having the information from you is really, that's fine for me. But I've looked for the actual grant itself and what the terms and conditions are that we've got to follow, and I can't even find that from anything that's been submitted to the board, and I can't find it in the minutes. So
Okay.
that was a lot of what my questions were, that we didn't have a document from the grant to actually know what we applied for and what our responsibilities are when we made the ask. So if you can include that, that would be helpful to me.
Yeah, and what in this email, she's got close to a dozen attachments in there that it's a lot to read through.
Who did that email come from, Alex?
This is from the state. It came from DECSM CSC grants. Technically, it's signed by Myra Fedniak that she lists in here and copied on it. Amanda Trombley is our DEC contact on this one. I don't know these people.
I don't have.
They are the Office of Climate Change representatives, apparently.
Okay.
I can forward this to everyone, at least get that out to everyone, start that part of it.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go from there. All right, moving on, 5.6, secure vestibule.
So on,
Discussion.
on this, Kevin, I've reached out to Alex to kind of get maybe a meeting together, just to kind of get some clarity on what we're talking about. I know that the original RFP went out just to kind of secure the downstairs vestibule and to create some transaction windows for DPW and the clerk's office. But walking through that, I'm still of the belief I'd like to explore the opportunity to secure the second floor in some manner. I think it's the most vulnerable spot at the town. I'd like to have that included in this project. So I know that we're setting up or attempting to set up a meeting with Keystone just to kind of walk through that to see where this is. It appears that there should be plenty of funding in that budget line item to do both, but I don't know that definitively.
Correct. And if he responds back for Friday, I could probably pull off Friday with you guys if that's an option. Otherwise, I'll have to do it when I get back. I'm gone from the 30th to the 13th.
Okay.
I have some help covering me, but not for this. So I'm guessing Ken Gay will respond back saying,
Yeah, so that's where we are with this, just to look at it. And then if that's something that can't be done, then I think we just, complete the drawings for locking the vestibule down here and the transaction windows and, taking a vote on that, on how we want to proceed.
Any other discussion on that?
No.
Thanks, Alan.
All right, so we're moving on. 5.7, EDU assessment and public hearing schedule.
So that's the memo that's attached. It was part of your agenda last meeting. This outlines just a suggested time frame, steps to take for finalizing the EDU assessment roll this year, 2026, for the 2027 taxes, which come out in January. And then the second portion of that outlines the recommended time frame for all of the subsequent years. The difference between this year's recommendation and next year going forward is, going forward, we'll be able to better align it with the normal tax assessment procedures for real property. So that way our own assessor has the ability, after the public hearing that's held by the town board and the town board approval of the final EDU assessments, our own assessor can make the changes to the roll itself before submitting it to the county. This year, like last year, we're in the position of holding a public hearing, finalizing our assessment roll, and then asking the county to update that assessment roll with any changes that might be made by the town board after that public hearing. I've worked with Catherine. Catherine, I know, has worked with Greg to figure out, I'm going to use the phrase mail merge. No, something different. But they've figured out a way to, no?
I've worked with her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
She has.
Catherine, yes, Catherine has figured out a way
Catherine and
to
Alice.
export data from the assessor's records to create the mailers for every single property, which will have the name of the owner, the tax map, the number of EDUs being assessed to that particular property, and then we can put in there the estimated amount of the EDU with a clear statement that this is estimated as of now and won't be finalized until next year. I'm working on the language for this mailer that will go out, but it appears that we'll be able to generate this very, I'll say, relatively easily, which is something that we didn't do last year because we did something different. This sounds like it's going to be much more easy than the process previously. So Catherine is working on that, and she is going to then end up getting with Greg to help him understand how to do it so that all these mailers can get printed out and sent on their way. The ask, not this evening, but possibly your next meeting, would be to schedule the public hearing on this for, I'm recommending the second meeting in August. So we're going to have a next meeting on July 8th. So that would then be 3 or 4 meetings after July 8th, depending on whether we're in a weird month or not. So that will give us more than 30 days, which gives us the time to print everything out, make sure it's accurate, and actually get it out the door on or around the 30th day before the public hearing and publish newspaper notices like we're supposed to. So that way everybody will have a direct mailed notice and it's in the newspaper, and we're ready and well set for the August the second meeting in August public hearing date. Now you could push this back if you want to. We don't have to do it right now. The thought is, let's do it in August, because that gives the county that much more time to implement any changes that we're asking them to implement. You'll recall we did it pretty late last year, and Kevin will attest to the angst that we all felt in trying to get it worked out with the county and finalized and on the tax rolls. So we want to build as much time as we can. So this builds as much time as we can this year, just based on our evolving understanding of like the process and how to make this practically work. And why next year we're going to move it up even earlier, just so that we have more control over the process ourselves.
So your suggestion here is to make the future procedure kind of town policy.
Correct. Yep.
So in reading this, I mean, I'm okay with that, but I would like a little housekeeping done on the language.
Yeah.
Specifically where it says should, I think it should say shall.
Oh, I would agree. I'm not saying that this
I
is the
didn't know whether or
policy.
not you were using this language as part of the policy
This,
to recommend by resolution.
yeah, this would not be the policy. You're right. Shoulds will go to shalls, because this is just a recommendation. So I'm saying the assessor should do that. I'm not going to say the assessor shall. That's for you guys to decide.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree with the process, Nate. I think the sooner we can get after it, the better. It allows that extra time as opposed to last year. And I do like the policy, the procedure to make policy. I think it keeps us in line and keeps us kind of on a schedule, if you will, so we don't fall behind.
Right, and to give some further background, the statutes don't prescribe the exact procedure for this. It gives the broad outlines. The assessor shall prepare the assessment roll. The town board, shall be filed with the town clerk. The town board shall hold a public hearing. It's like, okay, but like, when's all that got to be done?
But there still is a de facto deadline, if you will, to all of
Yes,
this.
yeah, the end of the year, right? And then there's the practical pieces of it.
Exactly.
So I would just ask that you folks, when you're talking about future topics, include a resolution to schedule a public hearing on EDU assessments for the second meeting in August. And then at the meeting next time, we would include, basically it's a assessment roll as an attachment. So then if you have any questions about any particular properties or just what it even looks like on the assessment roll, you'll be able to see it. But we'll make sure that's an attachment.
Alrighty. Any other questions for Nate?
No.
All right, we're gonna move on then. 5.8, Williamson Law Form of Voucher Discussion.
So I have a call into Williamson. I have not heard back from them yet in regard to having the opportunity to remove the claimant certification from the voucher. However, the way we're practicing right now, in my understanding of the town law and what I've read, it is optional. And at this point, if a claimant wants to do the certification, really don't have a problem with it, but I still see it as optional. So when we go through, when we audit these vouchers, if it's not there, I'm just striking through it. So unless I'm missing something, Nate, it is still an option, and it's just a matter of having Williamson see if they can just remove it. If not, we don't require it by resolution. So I look to the state law where it identifies it being optional. And if it's there, great. If it's not, no worries.
I would concur with that.
So as soon as I know something from Williamson, I'll pop this back on an agenda just to identify what they can do. So far, from some of the feedback that we've gotten, there isn't a cost to do this. It's just a matter of them being able to, you know, go in and have it customized, I guess, if you will, for our need. It is a standard piece that's in there because it is optional.
Okay.
Any other feedback on that? All right. Add to future agenda when you get that. info.
Yeah, when I have that, I'll send you a note.
All right, moving on, 5.9, Code Enforcement Officer. See, we received 3 applicants since we reposted it. I would suggest,
Yeah, looking at these applications, I would recommend that we interview all 3.
I don't have any issue with all 3. There's one from significant distance away.
Actually, there were 2, I think, Gene, that made a statement about relocating.
relocating.
So we'll have to reach out to them and see how they would do that. I mean, that could be a Zoom interview or something, because they are, one of them is, you're right, I think was 3-4 hours away.
Yep.
Do you want to work with?
Yes, I
Jody
can do
and,
that with
Diane
Jody,
and-
and we can put our committee together and interview all 3. We'll set those up.
Okay. Perfect. All right, 6.1, no public hearings tonight.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Is the period for receiving the applications over?
Yes, it
Okay.
was the 18th was the last day.
Okay. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, no public hearings tonight. We're going to move on to new business. 7.1, Hometown Heroes discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna bump this one too. I reached out to Port Dickinson. I spoke to them. Theirs is on a road that they own, but they said that the New York State Division of Veteran Affairs was super helpful on this.
Okay.
Right now, the cost of this is 100% on the participant. There's no grants associated with this. The $174.90 is the exact cost for this, but they said the New York State Department of Veteran Affairs was incredibly helpful. The issue I have here is that the person that had that position in Broome County retired. So I was kind of kicked to someone else. I'm waiting for a call back on what it takes to facilitate this. The part I don't know yet is, yes, it's on a municipality's road. It's not like on a county or a state road. You know, I know we talked about maybe Front Street or River Road or wherever we decide if this is something we want to do. So I need to figure that out. I also don't know yet if they own the telephone poles. That's part of the question for this. So I've got a list of questions. I'm willing to share it if anybody needs it, but I want to get more information. I will not be at the next board meeting, so this will be 2 meetings from now if that works for everyone.
Sure.
But it is being worked on,
Okay.
and I hope by that meeting I'll have a solid game plan if this is something we want to engage in or not. Once again, it sounds like it's no cost to the municipality, except for the fact that they 100% do have their own bucket truck, and they are doing this work themselves. So that may be something we need to find a volunteer or something, or borrow a bucket truck, and Jay will put them up himself or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But-
Nothing to it, Luke. Sign me up.
So to be continued, but if we could do this 1 month from now, I should have real information.
Okay, for the July 22nd meeting, how about that?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, moving on, 7.2, generator RFP.
We sent out the RFP for the maintenance on the generators. We received back one quote for that. After looking through the quote, it seemed awfully high for what we budgeted for this year's worth of maintenance. I would recommend that we remove a few of the, some of the, sorry, look at my recommendation. The load tests for the, not doing them every year, since we do loads on the generators every time they cycle anyways. So I would suggest that we remove 2 out of the 3 load tests and that contract, only do 1 in the second year. That would save the town roughly $14,748. That brought it more closer to the monies that we allotted this year for doing the maintenance on the generator. Other option is to, I can can go back out and get multiple quotes just to do the services, for this year if we wanted to do that as well.
The RFP was publicly, it was put in the paper?
Yes.
Okay. And the load tests that was in the RFP, is that a manufacturer's requirement for warranty that you do them?
That I'm aware of. It was
Okay.
in the RFP that I found and used.
Okay. I'm just asking to make sure that if we have to do them to maintain a warranty issue, then the cost would be what the cost is. Okay.
You think maybe the insurance company requires it?
They didn't say when I sent them the RFP for review to add the insurance into it, no.
So you say you do some load on your own? I mean,
Every week when they cycle on Wednesdays, they run whatever they're on and unload. Most of these are at our water pumping stations or the town hall, so they're all getting a load to them anyway.
so you feel confident that if something was wrong, you'd pick it up? You don't need an expert, so to speak, to verify it, or?
They all go alarm if there's an
Yeah.
alarm to them.
Yeah.
If they fail to run or fault, there'll be an alarm on it anyway. The
When
load
you-
test, they would just do it once a year and run it for 2 hours just to make sure it's working properly.
When you do them every week, when you're just turning the generator on, you're not switching the power generation from NICEAG to the generator. You're just turning it on and cycling the generator, right?
Most of my water wells are running, swapping over and running the pumps and everything.
Okay,
So putting a load on it now.
okay.
Greg, in the RFP, you list the services under minor service visit. Are these all annual?
A minor will be one time a year and major will be one time a year.
And what you did, just take me through, I see where you came up with the 14, you took 14,000 off the 66. And that's the first year cost? Or is that, that includes eliminating some of the load tests?
Correct. Eliminating 2 of the 3 load tests. I would suggest we do the load test on the second year,
Because you're putting them under load, what was the frequency?
once a week.
Once a week they're under load, okay.
Did you ask this company how they felt about taking those load tests off, or?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Is there a manufacturer's recommendation in terms of maintenance?
This,
In any of the manuals or anything?
not that I've seen.
Okay. So to put the RFP together, is this something that you've had in the past regarding the services, the scope of work?
We have not had an RFP for generator maintenance. What I did is I found the RFP, I also took quotes from multiple companies, utilized the quotes and the RFP, created the RFP, that's how I come up with the.
So that's how you came up with the scope? Okay.
Anything else?
Did you
No,
say the
I-
major was both major and minor once a year?
Yes.
Okay. And then you identified kind of like almost a checklist or a report, but you're saying that's kept in a manual on site? Do you get a report, let's say even email, something that we could keep to kind of have a historical record, just to see what maintenance and, or frequency of certain issues could be? All right, so you've got to get this updated to have them remove the load testing. What was the budget on this? For that line item?
Like those 3 budget lines that I budgeted, it was around 30-something thousand total for the 3.
But you're saying eliminating the load test gets you more in line with that line item?
Correct.
Or those line items?
Over the total.
Yeah, over the, yeah, I got it.
Next year, we'd obviously budget a little more, we only budgeted for the 2 services this year.
Greg, I just want to go over the numbers. And the amount that is in the last paragraph of your recommendation for the first year amount's 14,673.
Yes, 14,670, yep.
So how does that translate back to the 51,700 for the RFP? Is that the?
So the first year, major and minor,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I got the 14,000. The second year is major, minor, plus the low tests would be a different number.
Okay.
Then the third year, major, minor, another figure, added them all together, that's where I did the 51,727.
Right, because you, and
Okay.
if I'm following this correctly, you took the load tests out of year 1 and 3.
Correct,
Right, so you just got the load tests identified in year 2.
correct.
Okay. I don't have any issue with your recommendation. I would like you to be confident about whether or not it's a warranty issue with with that. But other than that, I understand why you're taking it out. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I'll have all that. I'll get it re-updated and I'll check on all that.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
We'll just, you're probably gonna go under on those lines, just so the board knows.
Probably gonna what?
Probably go under on those lines. Well, it's water, sewer in general,
General will come out of really the ground.
but it's, yeah.
Well, I put money in the water and the sewer, but we're gonna have to move things around because
Well,
maintenance has.
we could move stuff on the general side of it. but
I'm
the-
just,
but
we didn't
right-
budget this full amount, so that's what I'm saying, there's possibility those lines can run short.
But we've got latitude on the general side, right? Because
but
we can't.
General will always have latitude on it. There's water and sewer's total different story.
Right, so we'd have to max those out and then put the residual in the general? to
That's a
cover the
budget.
overage?
Is that a budget discussion for next year? Because you have year 1 here at 14,000.
I put the amount of money in for this year's, the budget this year, when we did budgets last year. I added these numbers into the budget.
Yeah, so this is in the budget we have now, but it wasn't the amount that, it was a little bit less.
Less than the
I'd have to go back
14,600.
and look at the exact amount that we budgeted for.
14.6 is what I'm understanding is we're shy of that.
Budgeted for.
No, we only budgeted enough this year to do the first year's,
And
What's
and-
the first year total?
I got 14,672.
Okay.
Right,
We
but you,
put in 10 or 11
10 or, yeah,
dollars in-
that's what I'm saying. We're just short, but some of these are split up because some of these aren't for DPW.
Yes.
Right.
Well, they're split between three sections of the budget.
3 sections, okay. So what I'm saying, the total of all those 3 sections, is it just the DPW piece is 11?
No,
Do-
that's
Oh,
for all 3.
all 3, okay.
Yes, all 3.
But I think you'll be all right now. I was going at the higher
Yeah.
number.
No, no.
All right. Because I looked at it at the higher number, and that's why I thought the lines were gonna run. No, you're right. If we're just doing the first year. Okay. I didn't know. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. So we should be fine.
Okay.
All right, so we're done with that.
Will this be on next meeting's agenda?
Will you be able to put all that together for it?
As I can put it together, I'll have it to you. If I have it, I'll just send it to you on Thursday.
Okay.
So do you want a resolution of approving it for the next agenda then?
If he's got it, that'd be my ask,
Sure,
yes.
all the information's there. All right, 7.3, lockdown law discussion.
I don't have anything for it.
I have nothing on here. I don't know why I was, I think we,
have something you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I do want to talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, it's something that I don't see why we don't have. But if everybody's not prepared to talk about it today, that's fine.
Do we need to,
I
do
didn't
we
ask
need
to.
to pull something together for it, though, for an agenda item? As opposed to just a title? I don't know. I don't know if there was something we're trying to
I didn't
mimic.
prepare anything. I mean, I've read a lot about it for this, but I don't have anything formal to share with the board.
Do you want to just in a couple weeks when you're back, just to kind of do a summary or maybe something to share that you were thinking about mimicking?
Yeah, no, I mean, I looked at what Johnson City and Binghamton are currently doing. I didn't think I was the only person that wanted to talk about this, though.
No, we can talk about it. I'm just saying we should have something kind of as a scope. What are we looking
Yeah,
at?
no, absolutely.
You know,
I
at
can
least a
pull-
basis.
I can pull what Johnson City and Binghamton currently are doing. I can have that for 2 meetings from now. I didn't realize it was on this one until I looked at the agenda the other day. I just went quickly and read at what they're doing as a basis of something that I definitely think we should institute. I can have that for 2 meetings from now, along with the Hometown Hero banners.
Okay.
And I can get this out to the board this coming week, or do you guys want me to send it a handful of days beforehand so it's fresh in your mind before we talk about it?
Yeah, and as long as it's included in the agenda,
Just
because
have
the
it on the
agenda, yeah, the
agenda
agenda
for
gets
the-
out days ahead
Yeah,
of time.
I can get it to Jody,
For
that's
the
no problem.
Yeah, the Friday before the 22nd meeting.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, department reports. 8.1 highway report. Do you have anything there? Nothing on there. 8.2 attorney's report.
Been a little quiet, but I do have a request for an executive session to discuss matters relating to the employment of a public official, just to give you guys an update on a discussion we had a meeting or two ago. I guess it was 2 meetings ago.
Okay.
All right, 8.3 supervisors report. Everybody see the quote we got for the camera for the Tin Man from our camera company, TrueView?
Yes.
Did you ever get any quotes on the telemetrics to,
They were here, I'm waiting on him to figure out how it all works.
okay,
And I might have to update the whole computer system in there. So that'd be a budgetary thing anyways. So I'm still waiting on that.
But you can move forward with this, right?
Well, as far as the discussion, yeah, absolutely, because I'd rather have the discussion and move forward with this than wait for that, because that's a budget issue, that's a next
I
year
agree.
issue.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
Is
I
any-
have no problem with,
No.
with having this installed.
I don't either. It's under the threshold, so.
do you want
Yeah.
to make a motion? Do you want to have a resolution next meeting? Do you want to give me the authorization to go forward with it? or-
We do because we're expending money, so I'd prefer to do a resolution next week
Okay.
with actually having a quote from them,
Okay,
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah.
that's all.
okay. Well, I could just, I don't think we need a motion, right? Because I can't do it. Let me get a quote.
Yeah.
Let me get a quote, and Nate can put up a resolution together with the quote and add it to the next agenda.
Need a motion tonight?
Not if we do it that way. If we do it, get the quote, do a resolution, put the quote as the backup to the resolution, and you guys can discuss it in the next meeting if you want to vote on the resolution or not.
Great, thank you.
Wait, what do we need the quote for? This is below the threshold. We could make a motion and just push this through right now.
And I think where Luke's also going is the email from Adam identifies the cost of as being $992.
Yeah,
So he has
isn't
given
that
you a
the quote?
definite amount.
I make a motion that we move forward not to exceed the amount in the email of $992. And we authorize Greg to do it ASAP so that he has it done and it's out of the way.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
that's not in our procurement process of what we're doing. You get a quote from the vendor, that's what we've got. These $990 from, I don't disagree that that is what he's saying, but it just doesn't go with the process of what we're doing with resolutions, and we don't do resolutions here as a board. We don't do motions. And we're doing motions a lot, and I'm kind of frustrated with it, with everybody just ad hocing these discussions and doing motions. We're breaking our own policies and our own rules. So I don't, it's not an emergency. He's working off from what he's got now.
What part of the procurement policy am I not understanding that by authorizing this now is not correct? Like what, I'm not saying this is an emergency, I'm saying this is something that we could push forward with and don't have to talk about at the next meeting. What part of this am I not doing correctly?
Where's the quote for it? I mean, it's just a dollar amount. And it's not what we have as a board historically wanted to accept for it. So TrueView sends it a quote, says this is what we're gonna provide, this is how much it's gonna cost, and that's what we review. Getting emails and having ad hoc conversations and then doing motions is not what I think that this board is.
But isn't the procurement policy when it exceeds a certain amount?
No, it doesn't. A penny has to fall within the procurement policy. You spend a penny, you have to follow the procurement.
And we get a formal bid to spend a penny?
Not a formal bid, no, it depends on the range. You send out, you can have a conversation, send out a handwritten note to a person to get a quote. That fits that. We've done these by emails, but there's been a process to get it. And then they come in with quotes. Getting an email from Adam telling you that this is $992, that's not a quote from the vendor. And we're doing this by
It is and
motion.
it isn't. I
Did a
mean,
quote?
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, an email-
I know what you're saying.
So if he forwarded us the email from the vendor with that dollar amount, that would count as a quote? Where the vendor formally said, this is how much this costs?
No, a quote from a vendor comes in on their letterhead, it comes in with their terms and conditions, their installation, what their gear, what their warranties are. I mean, that's the quote. I don't care about the $992 issue in the email. That's not it. But this was given to us as do we want to move forward with it? Here's a conversation, not to make a motion to go do something. And that's primarily what I'm objecting to is the motions. We've got a resolution on that's standing for our order of rules that we don't do motions. And I think we need to get away from doing motions and get back to our policy of doing resolutions. But that's a different discussion than the 992 quote. So.
Yeah, I can amend this, but that other discussion has to happen, because this is why these meetings take so long, because we don't just push forward through with a $900 item that we don't need a formal bid process for. So I will amend my motion to approve this $992 item.
I'll amend my second.
What are you amending?
Are you removing it?
Removing, I apologize.
Okay. So they're removing his motion. Are you removing your second? Okay. All right, then we're gonna move on to 8.3A retire request. Everybody see that information? You want me to explain it to you?
Summary, please. Just a brief
So
summary.
she retired, what?
Please, a brief summary.
So she retired from the town in 2023 during the process of everybody resigning. And when she retired, she wasn't put on the list of retirees for Medicare. Or when, actually, I think she might have retired before that, but then when she got to the Medicare age where you have to change your insurance, she wasn't put on the list of retirees. And she ended up getting billed for her insurance, the portion that the town is supposed to pay. And she just paid it for 3 years or whatever. Didn't even know until one day she contacted, I believe, Julie and said, should I be paying this? And she said no, and they came in, and I said, put all your information together and I'll take it to the board. And Jody went back and looked at it, and she wasn't added to that retiree list.
Are we looking at the sum, when I look at 2023, and it has that dollar amount, I don't know if we're supposed to talk about this publicly, I don't know if it's listed. Is that the dollar amount per month or for the entire annual plan?
It looks like it's an annual amount for each year.
Hold on, I gotta sign back, I got kicked out, but what's the number?
Right, so, well, it's like, essentially, it's like $90 a year, call it.
So the town pays a portion, then she pays a portion to the town. What?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
What?
And it looks like,
She paid her portion to the town,
right,
like
but I'm
every
just
other
saying, those
retiree
portions,
does.
those portions, if I'm reading this correctly, are annual for each year of what she paid.
You're looking
At
at
the end
this.
of the day, we
this-
owe her.
Yes, you're looking at the 1,032 down there, you're looking at that? That's the amount she paid that the town was supposed to be paying.
Wait, where?
At the bottom, look at the very, very bottom, for 2023, 2024, 2025.
Oh, okay, so that, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That's
So
the
that
amount.
90 is times 12, that 86 is times 12, the 84 is times 12.
You see, it's the
You're right,
5th of
look.
every month,
Yeah.
six of that, so the amount, that's the amount the town usually pays, or is supposed to pay for the retiree for Medicare, and then they pay the town a portion, a
So the-
percentage back. It's a,
The reimbursement is for 3,457.80.
yes,
Whose
Yeah.
fault is it?
ours,
Why?
because we give a list to the insurance company of our retirees not to be billed, for the town to be billed for those retirees, and she was not on that list.
Do we update that monthly then?
We update it every time somebody goes on Medicare. Just recently, we had a few more people go on it, and they come and they sit down with Chuck and they do the whole thing.
So is this on
It
Chuck?
completely changes their insurance. and
So is
everything.
this on Chuck then? Because he didn't update this properly?
No, because she was not, we give a list. I mean, I could talk more with Jody, but there's a list that's given to the insurance company that says, these are the people that the town pays their portion. And she was not on that list. We went back and looked, and she
Yeah, no,
wasn't
no, no, I
on those,
trust
she wasn't
that.
on those lists.
Who makes that list in the town?
Person that's in Jody's position.
Okay. And then this was just.
And
done
there was
years
multiple
ago.
people in that
And all of
position.
the paperwork for her retirement was filed, and there,
Yes.
and then there's nothing on an issue with that.
No, there was, see, there was some discrepancies, like some other people, I think, a couple of the other Medicare retirees were billed for insurance, and then they called Jody and said, why am I getting this bill? And Jody called the insurance company, and they said, oh, yeah, that's a mistake, yep, they're on the list, they're not supposed to get billed, so they didn't pay. She never caught it. I think if she would have called and said, should I be paying this,
Would have been rectified right
it
away.
would have been rectified right away, but she never did. She wasn't on the list, that's all I can say. And it was 2023.
Do we have a mechanism on how to pay her? Can we pay it? I mean, it might be our fault, but can we pay it? How do we pay it?
What do you mean by how can we pay her?
Yeah, well, because it's late, it's back, if there's a time period on how far back the town can go back, I'm just asking a process question.
I'm just a
If we're- if
supervisor,
we're-
I can't answer that
There's
question.
times when this HR stuff has come up where we have not been able to pay it because it's been outside of a time period. I just don't want to get caught.
And I understand 100%, and I'm just bringing the information to the board because, once again, I can't answer these questions.
I would My off-the-cuff reaction would be, it's only going back 3 years. That would be within any statute of limitations that she might have if she were to, I would consider this effectively a claim against the town. She is claiming for funds that are owed to her from the town because she, without knowing, made payments that the town should have paid for her. So thinking of it that way, this is a contractual right that she had because she was working for the town and our policy dictated that we were supposed to pay this. So it doesn't strike me as unreasonable based on the timing of everything and how far back she's looking at. Off the cuff.
Research it more?
Certainly can.
I think everything that we're required to and obligated to pay her, she should get.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
This is-
I think it would have to come out of fund balance. You take, or you could take it out of a salary line that is not being used.
Where does it come from for the retirees now?
Well, I'm sure that comes out of the insurance lines, but those are already figured out for, I mean, you could take it out of that line, you're just gonna have to adjust it if it runs short.
But is that line now low because of her $101 and change per month?
And now we're paying it, so that line is gonna start.
That will be,
So we'll have to move money over into that line to account for the, well, we've got 3 years, and we're going back fiscal years, so it's like $1,000 a year.
Yep.
that-
Yeah, I'm
that we're talking
assuming
about.
part of that is the first 6 months of this year. If she just realized, oh shoot, I paid June's, now I want reimbursement, then
Yeah,
6
it-
months are counted for in that 3,400 and whatever.
$607 of it is that,
Correct.
for
I would
2020.
imagine.
Yep, that's broken out on the very last page. That's itemized by year. That going back since she actually turned 65.
So we had,
So that line is already definitely gonna be $670.80, $607.80 short. is my point.
it might be all right.
There,
We had-
there's some contingency in those
Yeah,
numbers.
we had contingent, we
But
budgeted
yes.
514,000, we're at 400, we used
Yes.
91,000 so far this year, so if you look at the time, I think that's gonna, it might be all right, I can't tell you exactly.
But the projections would not have included that $600. You're right.
It would not
Right.
include that.
So can we
I think we just,
find out what we are legally obligated to owe, and then it could be paid out of that line, and late in the year, we have to just figure out
If we need to.
if we need to, yeah.
We can certainly, for that amount, and we know what we've got to do, it's going to be another $400 and $500 for the rest of the year. So just plug in the $4,000, take it out of fund balance to put into that line item, and square it away.
but let's, you'll just, Nate will confirm that,
Yep.
because I'm sure we're gonna have to do it by resolution, and we'll have to have the budget line and all that.
Just, yep.
Okay. I got a bunch of other stuff, but there'll be future topics. All right, let's go to resolutions.
Resolution 9.1, approving abstract number 12.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
I have none.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
No.
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
I believe you folks discussed tabling resolution 9.2.
Yes.
Yes.
Resolution 9.3, approving new members of Shenango Bridge Fire Company.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
None.
Mr. Slota?
Aye.
Mr. Simonis?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert?
Aye.
Mr. Warden?
Aye.
9.4, apologies for the resolution the last time. I thought this was a sewer thing. I think pump stations and sewer. So, resolution standardizing water pumps and authorizing purchases.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
None.
Mr. Slota,
Aye.
Mr. Simonis,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert,
Aye.
Mr. Warden.
Aye. Resolutions, so we're on to future board topics, 10.1. Something that we need to discuss next meeting is the wastewater treatment plant bond payment and the resolution to pay that. We'll have to have on the next meeting. But there's definitely, we're gonna be remaining in short-term borrowing because the project's been extended. So now I'll have to explain all that next meeting. I don't wanna get into it now, but we can get that on the agenda for next meeting. We need to do our RFPs for attorney, engineering, for the budget. I think we should probably start that now, so we can have them for budget time. Anybody else?
Are we doing health insurance at this point now too?
We can do RFPs for anything in the budget. But I think they need to, if we're gonna do it, we need to put it on agenda, or we need to discuss it. I'm just doing future topics. Is that something that needs to be? I'd like to, if we're gonna do them, I'd like to have them for budget time.
We've also got that liability quote. too.
Yes, so that was another thing I was gonna bring up. So do you want to have a discussion on RFPs?
Yes, I think we need to get the liability discussion out there next meeting too.
What's the liability?
What liability?
Isn't that what this is?
Oh, the insurance?
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna, so the insurance policy, I said it, the
You did.
renewal, so
I'm
we
just
have
saying
to, we have to have that on the 8th.
Right.
There's gonna be a few more changes to it, cause I sent it to the department heads and they had some stuff to be removed from it. So I'm gonna get with Nicholas Spencer, remove those, and I'll have the final draft for the meeting on the 8th, so we can approve this. So insurance policy on the 8th for renewal. Do you want the RFPs for budget on the 8th, or do you want to push it back?
I don't see why it can't be the meeting after.
22nd?
Yeah.
Sure. No, that's fine. That's why just one of those two meetings would be good. Nate, dog shelter contract?
Did you guys approve that already? Because I know that they sent one. I'd had some comments. It went back and forth. I thought it was finalized, and if you guys haven't approved it already, then you just need to get it on an agenda to approve it.
I think we did.
We approved we approved the one that I signed that I signed premature.
Right.
Without the board's approval. But anyways, that was the one to accept going forward with them. Now, this is the official contract.
Gotcha.
Because now they have taken over the dog shelter from the county. So, that's what I'm doing. She was sending them to you. You were reviewing them, Nate.
Yeah, and I had sent back on June 4th to Karen, yourself, and Adam saying, here's some updated formatting, just kind of moved it around a little bit. She said thank you on June 4th. On June 17th, she asked if you were set with the contract. So I guess it's just between, after June 4th, it was finalized from my perspective. It just needed to get brought up to the town board and put on an agenda to vote on, is what it looks like.
All right, we need to put that on the 8th because I believe the contract starts July 1st. So, it's going to start July 9th. Do we need a resolution to do the public hearing on the 19th of August in the next meeting, or? want the town manager back on there for the next meeting, 7/8?
Do you want
I-
to do that
I-
on the 8th or the 22nd? I think
Well,
we,
we decided to put it on the 27th
Second.
and just committed to
Yeah.
getting comments to
Okay.
each other by
Yeah.
the
I don't know
next
why
meeting.
I had the 8th.
yeah, it's still on there for comments, you're right. So it's actually 2 meetings.
So just
So
put
it is on there for the 8th, and it's on there for the 22nd for a decision.
Okay.
Yep.
Put it on there for the 8th.
And then the 22nd will be Hometown Heroes and Lockdown Law, which I have to say for the record, I see Lockdown Law is still here. I was not prepared to talk about that today. I don't know how that got on, but I'll have a write-up out to everyone on Hometown Heroes and Lockdown prior to the agenda on the 22nd.
Resolution for the RFP for the generators. Next meeting, 7/8, and then if we have the retiree request for the insurance on 7/8, we can,
Yeah, do that sooner than later if we can get that through.
and then resolution authorize amendment number 5.
For
Do
Barton
you
and
want that on
Judas.
for the 8th, and that'll be if we get all the information back?
I'd like to see that.
It's all there, sure.
So I think we have plenty for the 8th.
We did ask Alex to put the report in for the Climate Smart Community,
Okay.
so if we could put that in.
Yep. Climate smart for the 8th.
Yep. And then, what's the signage discussion?
So I think that can be removed, Gene. In reading the law, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, those lawn signs are illegal advertising. So, the property owner should be notified that they're in violation. And I think we're mowing off the highway ramp where the town sign is. I don't know why the guys just don't remove them, because they are clearly illegal.
Are we allowed to remove them? I thought.
If they're within the town property or within the highway right-of-way controlled
Well-
by the town superintendent.
But that's Darren's issue to
Yeah.
remove.
So
That's
Okay.
not Greg.
that's
would-
fine. Somehow, then that needs to be brought to state DOT or something, but though,
Because they're part of the state DOT right away. They're not on town.
okay, if they're part of the state
Yeah,
DOT.
that's valid.
Even though we own and we mow some of that, that's
Okay.
state DOT.
But what I'm saying is they're in violation. They are violating the law. So the property owner, whether it's the state or a private property owner, I just think they should be notified.
So code
And they should-
enforcement should be
Which
citing
signs are
state.
we
They're
talking?
the lawn signs, the hail damage people, the roofing people, the.
Temporary signs
the-
pushed in the ground.
other
almost
people
like an election sign.
advertising their businesses.
Understood.
Yep. So I know that one property owner right there on the corner has been removing them.
The,
Not everyone has been.
for what it's worth, the hail damage stuff should end July 3rd. That's the cutoff for these insurance claims.
But they're not permitted. They're not permitted,
I
period.
know, I'm just telling you.
And they're just clear violation.
Yes, but it's an ordinance issue.
It is an ordinance issue, and I'm
So-
just bringing it up that it really just doesn't need to be here on our future topics.
No, it shouldn't be on
That's
the
the
board
point
has
I'm
no
making.
say on it. We need to leave it in
But
code
we-
enforcement.
Yes, I agree. I was just trying to remove it, that's
Yep.
all.
Okay.
And explain why I was removing it.
Okay, I agree with you, then remove it.
Yep. The other item that I would remove from this, unless Darren's got a different issue, it appears that the highway roof leaks have been resolved at this point
Have they?
with the venting that was corrected, the ridge vent.
Yes,
So-
that's still on there.
Yes, it's still on there. I'm just trying to clean
Clean
the
it up.
list up.
Okay.
And then I gotta work with these two on getting the floor, we gotta get put RFP together for the garage floors.
Okay.
So it's my fault, I apologize.
Nope.
on that one.
No, that's why we're talking about them. We can take them off. Okay.
I know this probably isn't the right time, but I forgot to say it when Gleason was here. Honestly, no, I apologize. Just real quick, I have been, all the emails going around between me and Gleason and Alex and then you guys, we have worked together for the last month on some of the stuff and concerns that I have. So it's been, we're working them out behind the scenes, just so you guys know.
Good.
Clarendon Drive basically, and so is Wisconsin right now.
Good.
So they're all being worked
Thanks, Tim.
Anybody have anything else?
I have nothing else.
No.
Nothing else? Okay.
I should have something for a report myself, just something quick. Hopefully on the salt shed
For next meeting.
for next meeting.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yep.
Hopefully, they're supposed to give me something.
All right, we're going to go to open forum. Guests shall speak in an orderly fashion or limited remarks of 5 minutes or less. The speaker shall deliver their comments or concerns in a civil tone and without the use of profanity, personal attacks, or disruptive behavior which may result in the offenders removed from the meeting. The speaker shall not be interrupted except in a matter of urgency. Would anybody like to speak?
I will.
Okay, okay.
I'm Terry Moriarty. I'm on the Comprehensive Planning Committee, and I just have my notes going back to what we were discussing earlier. So at that first meeting, Collier said we have 3 stages. First stage was community vision and data gathering, and they said March to May, which the first meeting was at the end of March. So really that's only 2 months, April, May. Step 2, draft development is supposed to run from June to October. Third step, review and revision, November to December, with final adoption early 2027. That was the outline they gave us at the first meeting. As far as public engagement, they said they had the website, which they have that up, public survey, public meetings, like the public part of the kickoff, I guess. Committee meetings, stakeholder interviews, which we haven't heard any more about, and then town board meetings. And we were told we have 7 of the community committee meetings during that time frame.
And,
Had the ones.
yeah, just the one.
Terry, were there just 3 in-person meetings and 4 virtual, or?
The date, she didn't have a specific number, she did say, I think one of them
Oh.
said, some would be in person, some would not. They didn't give us a specific number.
Okay.
And as far as the getting the information out of the survey, they sent us like digital copies and then a printable copy of the survey. But to be honest, the vast majority of the community, I'm sure, doesn't know who's doing a comprehensive plan. I mean, until last year, I didn't know to check to see what was going on at the time. I mean, you get a little something going on that you want to be on top of. I mean, I know I put the information on some of my social media. I have some neighbors who are kind of involved in it, shared it with them, one put it on the next door site. Another one, I send her a link so she can make some hard copies. But even like the printed copies, it's kind of hard. If you give it to somebody, then they have to get it back, which is not a huge deal, but if something's busy, like they're hitting about random strangers, well, how they can get a mail, and you gotta show up with them. It was really hard to do. So that's basically, I think it's the small group of people that the community members do when we talk to, whether it's friends or neighbors. I did send some information to the 2 solar farms listed on Facebook, but that's it. So there, I think the idea about having another way to communicate with the community in that area is great. A lot of people don't know what they don't know at this point.
Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. All right. That's all we have for public speaking. So anybody like to make a motion? Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
Yep, matters relating to the employment of a public official.
Second?
Any discussion?
I have none.
None. Roll call.
Mr. Slota. Mr. Simonis.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Hulbert.
Aye.
Mr. Warden.
Aye.
Kind of talkative tonight. You're kind of talkative tonight there, Adam.
I don't care.
Yeah, one for back pressure and one for. He said it flew out of his hand in the wind.
Oh, sorry.
No, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
fine.
didn't. I was just having it right down.
A motion was made at 7:24 by Gene and seconded by Jay to go back into regular session.
We're good.
Yep, back in regular session.
I'd like to make a motion to have Nate prepare a resolution for a censure of a public official.
Okay, any discussion?
I have none.
None.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Slota.
Aye.
Mr. Simonis.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Hulbert.
Aye.
Mr. Warden.
Aye. All right, does anybody have anything else for tonight? Nothing? See nothing? Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kevin, I was, just for my own clarity, were you asking for a motion, or did you make the motion? I'm just curious.
I usually, because I always ask for a motion because who is it? Jim used to always do the motion.
Yes.
So I was asking, but I just took it as